Welcome to The Other Goal, stories beyond the scoreboard, where sports meets soul.
Okay, let's dive in. I saw this figure, over 500,000 Google searches, just in the UK, for Inter versus Barcelona on one single day.
Wow.
What does that really tell us? I mean, it's not just checking a scoreline, is it?
No, definitely not. That scale.
Yeah.
It signals something much, much bigger was happening. A kind of mass emotional hook.
Right. And the match itself, I mean, the context, Champions League semifinal, it ends 7-6 on aggregate to Inter after extra time. 13 goals across the two legs, tying the record. Just wild numbers.
Absolutely wild. But like you said, that search volume suggests people were drawn to more than just the goals piling up. There was a deeper drama unfolding.
Exactly. And that's what we want to get into today. Not just a replay of the goals, but the human story underneath, the psychological side, the resilience, how players handled that insane pressure.
And the emotional journeys, right, of specific players, but also the fans. That whole experience, that collective wave of feeling, sometimes people are calling it an instant classic.
So, what was it about this particular game? Why did it grab so many people, even those without a direct team to support? What can it tell us about, well, human nature under pressure?
That's the core question, I think. How these sporting events sometimes tap into something fundamental about hope, despair, comebacks, shared intensity.
Okay, so back to those searches. 500,000 in the UK for an Italian team versus a Spanish team. Let's just sit with that for a second.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? It shows this wasn't just background noise. People were actively plugged in, searching, wanting updates, wanting to know what twist came next.
Like a massive shared real-time drama series. Pubs, living rooms, people just glued to it.
Precisely. It indicates this widespread captivation, not just with the result, but with the narrative itself, the sheer unpredictability of it all.
And even the official Champions League channels, their social media, they seemed to pick up on it mid-match, didn't they? Hinting that something historic might be happening.
Yeah, and that's quite telling. When the organizers themselves acknowledge the scale of the drama while it's happening, it's usually a sign that, this is something special.
More than just goals, it's that feeling, that narrative quality.
Exactly, those intangibles that make a game memorable beyond the stats.
Let's talk about some of the individuals caught up in this whirlwind. Francesco Acerbi, 37 years old.
Yeah, a real veteran defender.
Yeah.
And get this, he'd never scored a single goal in European competition before this semifinal, ever.
Incredible. And then 93rd minute of the second leg, Barcelona are leading 3-2, basically thinking they're through to the final.
And he scores the equalizer, just pops up. The timing is just unbelievable. The swing and emotion in that single moment must have been immense for everyone.
For both sides, yeah. But for him personally.
It's the culmination of such a long career, achieving a first like that in that specific high-stakes moment. Unreal.
And when you add his personal context, the serious health battles he's overcome, including cancer,
Yeah.
that goal becomes more than just a goal, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It becomes this symbol of, resilience, of grit, overcoming adversity, not just on the pitch that night, but challenges he's faced throughout his life.
It really puts it into perspective. What does that moment teach us?
I think it shows how deep that well of resilience can go, how experiences, even really tough ones, can forge a kind of mental strength that shows up when the pressure is highest. Never give up, embodied, right? Even late in the game, late in a career.
Such a powerful story. And then there's the winner, Acerbi Frattesi.
Right, maybe not a name everyone knew instantly beforehand, more of a squad player perhaps.
But he steps up in extra time, 99th minute. Decisive.
And it just highlights the importance of the whole team, doesn't it? That mentality across the squad. His own words were quite revealing too.
What did he say?
Something like, "I wasn't blessed with incredible talent, but I never give up." It just speaks directly to that theme of determination, of hard work paying off.
And he said he was dizzy from celebrating, right?
Yeah. Which just makes it so human, so relatable. These aren't robots, they're people experiencing these huge, overwhelming moments. It grounds the whole thing.
It really does. Okay, let's shift to the fan experience. The reports from the San Siro. Inter fans actually leaving the stadium around 87 minutes.
Yeah, can you imagine? Barcelona are ahead, it looks done.
Yeah.
That tells you everything about the emotional investment, doesn't it? The depth of despair they must have felt.
To feel so certain of defeat, you physically walk away, all that hope seemingly gone.
It's that absolute low point. They've poured everything into it, and it feels like it's over.
And then Acerbi scores. The stadium erupts. Those who stayed. The disbelief. Then the absolute euphoria.
Pure chaos, I imagine. And maybe a pang of regret for those who left early.
Oh, for sure. But that sudden shift, that whiplash from despair to elation, what does that show about being a fan?
It's the core of it, really. That volatility, that shared emotional roller coaster. You live through those moments together, the lowest lows and the highest highs, often just minutes apart. That creates unbreakable bonds.
And it wasn't just in Milan. You heard about neutral fans in the UK getting sucked back into the drama.
Yeah, that universal pull of a story that's just too good to ignore. The emotional swings were just captivating, regardless of who you supported.
Now, flip side, Barcelona, Eric Garcia's quote after, "Football can be so cruel," just sums it up.
It really does. Think about their journey in that second leg. They came back from 2-0 down to lead 3-2 away from home. An incredible effort.
Absolutely heroic in a way. To fight back like that shows amazing character.
And then to have it snatched away, not just beaten, but snatched away and at a time like that. It's brutal. It's the kind of thing that sticks with you.
You could see Hansi Flick's frustration too, the comments about officiating. Understandable in the heat of the moment, maybe?
Sure, tensions run high and decisions get scrutinized. But even with that frustration, there was this underlying acknowledgement from almost everyone, wasn't there? That this was just an epic match.
Yeah, that transcended the specific grievances. Even in defeat, you recognize you were part of something extraordinary.
And that shared sense of having witnessed something extreme, even if you're on the losing side or just watching as a neutral, it connects people, strangely enough.
Yeah.
We all understand those feelings.
It's like the raw emotion itself becomes the common ground.
Exactly. The universality of it all played out on a football pitch. Now think about the individuals trying to keep their heads in all this. Jan Sommer, Inter's goalkeeper.
Crucial saves in extra time, right? Kept them in it.
Absolutely vital. And it was interesting to hear afterwards about his preparation, his methods for staying calm.
Yoga and meditation, apparently.
Right, which really highlights the mental game at this level. And his quote, just simply, "This one you don't forget," it tells you how much it meant, how much pressure he felt and overcame.
It shows it's not just about physical skill, is it? It's about managing that internal state when everything outside is just frantic.
It's critical. That ability to find focus, to execute under that kind of scrutiny, often comes down to that mental training, that composure cultivated over time. Summer's a great example.
And then on the Barcelona side, think of Rafinha. He scores what must have felt like the winner late on. The absolute explosion of joy.
Pure elation. Thinking you've done it, you've sent your team to the final.
Only for Acerbi to score moments later. Can you imagine that psychological drop?
Oh, it's incredibly tough.
Yeah.
From the highest high to the lowest low in maybe 60 seconds. That kind of emotional whiplash is hard to process for anyone, let alone in that environment.
And for a relatively young Barcelona squad, what's the potential impact of going through something like that?
Well, it's painful, obviously.
Yeah.
Hugely disappointing. But these experiences, however harsh, can also be formative. They learned about the cruelty of the game, yes, but also about never switching off, about resilience in the face of setbacks. It can build character long-term, even if it hurts short-term.
And we have to talk about Lautaro Martinez, Inter's captain.
Sure.
The story that came out after the first leg.
Yeah, the hamstring scare. But more than that, the emotional side. He apparently described himself as just sitting there crying.
Wow. That's incredibly honest. It really pulls back the curtain, doesn't it? These guys aren't just machines.
Not at all. It humanizes them completely. And then you hear about the promise he made to his family, that he'd fight back, that he'd be there for the second leg.
And he was. He played. He led the team. What does that tell us?
It speaks volumes about inner drive, doesn't it? About finding motivation from personal connections, from responsibility, even when you're physically or emotionally struggling. Faith, family, sheer will. It's powerful stuff.
So when you put this whole tie into the context of like Champions League history, 13 goals in a semifinal, tying that record, it feels significant.
It really does. And you heard it everywhere afterwards, people calling it potentially the greatest tie in Champions League history. Even UEFA seemed to lean into that sentiment.
That's not just hype, is it? It reflects the sheer drama, the constant twist, the emotional intensity that just captured everyone.
Exactly. It had all the ingredients. High stakes, star players, comebacks, late goals, individual stories of struggle and triumph.
And yes, there were discussions about refereeing calls, which always happens in big games.
Sure, those details get debated. But somehow, with this tie, those specific points feel almost secondary compared to the overall spectacle.
Yeah, they kind of fade against the backdrop of the sheer human drama that played out.
Precisely. Because at the end of the day, that's what draws us to sport, isn't it? That contest, yes, but more deeply the human responses to it, the struggle, the joy, the heartbreak.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive, it feels like the Inter Barcelona semifinal really was more than just a game. It was this incredible showcase of, well, human truths.
Yeah, grit, like with Acerbi, the wild ride of fan emotion, composure under insane pressure like Summer, personal battles like Lautaro's, redemption. It was all there.
And maybe that huge digital interest we started with, those 500,000 searches, maybe that was just reflecting our basic human connection to these kinds of stories.
I think so. A kind of digital echo of this elemental fascination with struggle, with hope, with the raw edges of human emotion that sport brings out so vividly.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about the moments in sport that really stay with you, not just the wins or losses for your team, but those specific instances.
Yeah, those moments of unexpected resilience or crushing disappointment or that underdog victory against all odds. Why do those moments stick?
Perhaps it's because sport, at its best, or maybe even at its most cruel, as Garcia said, holds up a mirror to life itself. Its unfairness sometimes, yeah, but also its capacity for magic, and the incredible things people can do when they refuse to give up.
You've been listening to The Other Goal, because the greatest victories don't always happen on the field.